Hey, this is Phil Pendergast from Khemmis, and today I'm excited to talk to you about my heavy metal memories associated with Judas Priest's Sin After Sin. Anytime I'm talking to people about Judas Priest and my lifelong obsession with them, I'm usually focused on 3 of their albums. Sad Wings of Destiny, their 2nd record, Sin After Sin, their 3rd record, and Stained Class, their 4th. For me, these albums represent the pinnacle of heavy metal's expressive, progressive, and exciting tendencies for reinvention, and also just the fundamental building blocks of heavy metal culture. These early Priest albums are special to me because it's like the band hasn't quite figured out exactly what heavy metal is going to be in terms of the sort of traditional metal aesthetics that end up getting adopted later on. They're still very heavy, but they're quite progressive in the compositions on these albums, sort of reinventing themselves as we're hearing them, playing around with like bluesier compositions, ballads, soaring heavy metal anthems, and then also like really long epic compositions. For me, this sort of tendency for the band to explore the space between what we know of now as heavy metal and sort of more progressive styles comes to a head on Sin After Sin. So we just celebrated the anniversary of this record on April 8th, and it made me really think that this was a good time to dive into the record. I have 3 heavy metal memories associated with this record. The first of them is just that every time that I hear this album and the album opener Sinner, I cannot help but try and sing along. And the very end of this song always destroys me when Halford is like doing this constantly escalating vocal where they're repeating the end of the chorus and then holding it out. And there's this beautiful vocal harmony moment that occurs over that where there's this really high harmony that comes in, the rest of the notes bend down, and this ascending harmony sort of goes up to a place that I can't quite reach. And every time, though, I love trying. That sort of vocal harmony manipulation and how it sort of transcends your expectations and creates this moment at the end of that song is something that I try and do in Khemmis all the time when we're arranging vocals for our material. Our newest song, Invocation of the Dreamer, would be a good example of this. At the end of each of the choruses, there's these 3-part vocal harmonies that are shifting in really cool ways to match what the guitar motion is doing. The second of my heavy metal memories associated with this album comes from an experience that I had with my brothers in Khemmis. One of my probably most favorite memories of us as a band, just like celebrating our shared love for heavy metal, came from seeing Judas Priest on the Firepower tour together, all together in Loveland, Colorado, doing heavy metal parking lot before this show for hours, along with our producer, Dave Otero. Just having a great time. Judas Priest kicks off. They immediately start playing Sinner. And this is not a typical Priest track to hear live. And as a personal huge fan of this album, I was just like immediately so excited. And it just had both me and Dave Otero just like grinning ear to ear and eager to sing along for the whole rest of the show. Number 3, heavy metal memory, is the first time that we played this festival, Psycho Las Vegas, in probably 2017. Played our set. After the show, we were hanging out at the Central Bar at the Hard Rock in Vegas, and there is this group of people from Metal Blade Records who are there hanging out and invite us to come join and have some drinks with them. And so we're talking to these folks, and one of them is Brian Slagle, who's sort of a legend in the metal scene for his work with setting up Metal Blade Records and promoting early Metallica and so on. And I'm wearing a Defenders of the Faith shirt, and he asks me what's my favorite Priest album. And I thought about it for a long time. After one too many drinks, I very passionately articulated that Sin After Sin was my favorite Priest record. He was really taken aback by this choice. He was like, I would have expected, Defenders of the Faith, a Screamin' for Vengeance, maybe a British Steel, but that was not the response that he was expecting. And he proceeded to argue with me about this choice for about a half hour. And by argue, I think that I actually probably mean that I just punished him about my love for this record for a half hour in a pretty drunken fashion, just obsessed way too hard over why this album brings me so much joy. One of my favorite moments on the record is the last track, Dissident Aggressor, which really kind of sets the benchmark for heavy metal aggression and speed going forward. You've got these crazy double kick drum pattern at the beginning from Simon Phillips. Most people would know as like the drummer of Toto, who plays on this record, making the drums exceptionally great on this album. His contribution there really kind of sets the tone for, like, you know, you see Slayer paying homage to this particular track later on, doing their own cover of it. Just the instant sort of aggression and how badass this last track is, really, with Sinner opening the record, Dissident Aggressor closing it, presents this strong and foundational blueprint for heavy metal as a genre going forward, with all kinds of reinvention going on across the choice of covers, instrumentation, Halford's vocals, really the songwriting. There's just so many aspects of this record that I love, and it's really formed the core of these heavy metal memories that I wanted to talk to you about today. So if you haven't listened to it in a while, make sure you check out Judas Priest's Sin After Sin. And while you're in the heavy metal mood, why don't you check out the new Khemmis record and our new single, Invocation of the Dreamer, streaming now everywhere where you get your music.